And now from the Silver City Casino on the Las Vegas Strip, here's James Coburn.
Coming out.
You hear the words, you grab the dice, you toss them in the air, you wait for them to drop, then you rejoice or groan. This is the roller coaster ride of one of the most thrilling and fast-paced of casino games. I'm James Coburn. Join me in discovering the winning strategies for the game of craps.
We have 106 going out.
All numbers.
Ain't hard, Margaret.
This is the excitement of casino gambling. From Las Vegas to Atlantic City. From Mississippi to Connecticut. Whether you catch the excitement on a down-home riverboat or at a Las Vegas mega resort, intelligent casino gambling within your budget can be one of the most exciting and thrilling ways to take a chance on a dream. And for millions of people all over the world, nothing is more exciting than the heart-pounding thrill of playing craps. Now, for the first time ever, the Winning Strategy Series takes you behind the scenes and into the world of craps. We'll show you the best basic strategies, the do's and don'ts of aggressive betting, and how to make sense of the mysterious house edge. We'll delve into the secrets of pass line, don't pass, come, don't come, and place betting. Plus, we'll show you which bets to avoid and how to gain the mental edge. Best of all, the tips and techniques you'll learn are based on the best-selling books of Frank Scobletti, one of the world's leading experts on gambling and winning. So won't you join us now as the Winning Strategy Series shows you how to win at craps.
When the ancient Greeks wondered about their fates, they would often round up a few sheep bones and roll them. How the bones landed, it was believed, advised them when to plant their crops, when to harvest them, even when to sacrifice an animal to appease an angry god. These bones were the earliest form of dice, and roll them bones became, and still is for some, the rallying cry of dice players. Of course, times have changed, and today cash not crops is the name of the game. And for the player who plays smart within his means can reap the benefits. Of course, it also helps know the game. And for that, let's see how Jack Davis rolls them bones.
Craps is clearly the most exciting casino game. Go into any casino and the shouts of joy or groans of anguish will definitely be coming from the craps tables. Craps offers the players chills and thrills and some of the best odds of any casino game. Yet many people are intimidated by the game because it seems complex. Then there are those people who have been playing craps for years, but when they add up their losses, they realize that something must be terribly wrong with how they've been approaching the game. If you fit either of these descriptions, this program is for you. Our program is divided into 3 parts. In part 1, we'll show you how the game of craps is played. We'll explain the basic bets, including pass line bets, don't pass bets, come bets, don't come bets, and place bets. In part 2, we'll give you the best basic strategies designed to help you dramatically increase your odds of winning. And in part 3, we'll talk about money management and how to gain the mental edge. Finally, we'll give you some tips on how to get the most for your money in the way of casino comps and promotions. For those of you who may not know your way around a craps table, here's a quick overview. The table is usually manned by 4 or 5 casino personnel. The person in the center is the boxman. He supervises the game. It's his job to see that the player's cash is properly exchanged for chips and that the dealers don't make any mistakes in the paying off of bets. To his left and right are the dealers, whose jobs are to collect the losing bets and pay off the winning bets. Opposite the boxman is the stick man. His job is to push the dice to the shooter and to place bets for the players in the center of the layout. To begin the game, the stick man empties the tray containing the 5 dice on the table and pushes them over to the person who is going to shoot next. The shooter selects 2 dice, and then the stick man takes back the other 3. The shooter places a bet on either the pass line or the don't pass line. He then picks up the dice and shoots. Many first-time players are reluctant to shoot the dice. Don't be. Just pick them up and float them gently down the center of the table. However, they must bounce off the back wall. It's a rule. That first roll is called the come-out roll. Let's look at what happens if the shooter places a pass line bet during the come-out roll. If a 7 or 11 is rolled, all pass line bettors win and are immediately paid off at even money. That means if a player bets $5, he wins $5. If a 2, 3, or 12 is rolled, that's craps, and the bet is lost. The shooter will keep rolling until he makes one of what is called the point numbers: 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 10. When the shooter hits one of those numbers, a large two-sided black and white disc is placed with the white side up in the box with that number. That number is now the shooter's point. The shooter must make that number again before the 7 comes up in order to win his pass line bet. Now let's look at the don't pass bet. The don't pass is the exact opposite of the pass line. On the come-out roll, if a 7 or 11 is thrown, the don't pass bettor loses. However, if a 2 or 3 is thrown, the don't pass bettor wins even money. If a 12 is rolled, it's a tie or push. The key to playing craps is understanding how the numbers are made and the odds of any particular number appearing on any given roll. For starters, there are 36 possible combinations on 2 dice, 6 sides times 6 sides. The number that comes up most frequently on a pair of dice is the 7. So 7 is the most important number in the game of craps. Using 2 dice, there are 6 ways to throw the number 7. A 6 and a 1, and a 1 and a 6. A 5 and a 2, and a 2 and a 5. A 4 and a 3, and a 3 and a 4. In other words, the 7 will come up an average of 6 times for every 36 rolls of the dice, or 1 time out of every 6. But what about the other numbers? The 2 and the 12 can be made only one way each. The 12 is made by throwing 2 6s, sometimes called boxcars, and the 2 is made by throwing 2 1s, called snake eyes. Both the 12 and the 2 will come up only once each out of 36 rolls. The 3 and the 11 can each be made 2 ways. The 3 is made by rolling a 2 and a 1, or a 1 and a 2. The 11 can be made by rolling a 6 and a 5, or a 5 and a 6. The 3 and 11 will each appear twice for every 36 rolls, or once every 18 times. The 4 and the 10 can each be made 3 ways. The 4 can be made with a 3 and a 1, a 1 and a 3, or a 2 and a 2. The 10 can be made with a 6 and a 4, a 4 and a 6, or a 5 and a 5. The 4 or 10 will appear 3 times for every 36 rolls, or once every 12 times. The 5 or 9 will appear 4 times for every 36 rolls, or once every 9 rolls. The 6 and 8 can each be made 5 ways. The 6 can be made with a 5 and a 1, a 1 and a 5, a 4 and a 2, a 2 and a 4, or a 3 and a 3. The 8 can be made with a 6 and a 2, a 2 and a 6, a 5 and a 3, a 3 and a 5, or a 4 and a 4. The 6 or 8 will appear 5 times for every 36 rolls, or once every 7.2 rolls. As you can clearly see, the 7 has the greatest chance of coming up compared to all the other numbers. Now we'll see how this affects the way the game is played. On the come-out roll, the player betting the pass line has a 2-to-1 advantage over the casino. In other words, the shooter is likely to win 8 times and lose 4 times. The remaining 24 times, the shooter will roll a point number that he must later repeat. After the come-out roll, the casino has the edge because the 7 will be rolled more frequently than any other number. Let's say the point number is a 4. So you need to roll a 4 before you roll a 7. Since the 7 can be made 6 ways and the 4 only 3 ways, the house has a 2-to-1 edge on the shooter when his point number is 4. When you figure out all the possible combinations of come-out wins and losses and point number wins and losses, what kind of edge does the casino have on the pass line bettor? A mere 1.41%. So that means that for every $100 you bet on the pass line, in the long run, you will lose only $1.41. But the pass line bet offers you the opportunity to do even better than that. Once the shooter has established his point, again, let's stick with the 4, the casino will allow you to place odds behind it. Odds is a second bet based on the true odds or true likelihood of the point number being rolled. The casino will allow an odds bet which is equal to, often double, sometimes triple, even 5 and occasionally up to 10 and even 20 times your pass line bet. So, when you see a casino advertising a game with 10 times odds or 10 times the action, that means that you can put 10 times the amount behind your pass line bet in odds. For a $5 bet, you can place $50. But what's so great about the odds bet? The casino has no edge on it whatsoever. Let's say your point number is 4. The odds are 2-to-1 against a 4 being rolled before a 7. Now, if you roll the 4, the odds bet is paid off at 2-to-1. Unlike your regular pass line bet, which gets paid at 1-to-1. It doesn't get much better than this in casino gaming, that's for sure. The casino still gets its 7 cents from your pass line bet, 1.4 cents per dollar wagered, but it takes no taxes whatsoever from your odds bets. So, what are the true odds of any of the point numbers coming up before the 7? Take a look at this chart. The true odds on 6 and 8 are 6 and 5, meaning you should win $6 for every $5 bet. If the shooter rolls the point before a 7, you are paid $5 and not $6 for your pass line bet. However, you are paid $12 for your $10 odds bet, or the real odds. If your point is 5 or 9, the true odds are 3-to-2. So again, you'd win only $5 for your pass line bet, but $15 for your $10 odds bet. If the point number is 4 or 10, your true odds are 2-to-1. Again, you'd win only $5 on the pass line, but $20 for your $10 odds bet. Okay, let's say the point is established. We'll keep with the 4, and the shooter then rolls a 6. There is no decision on the pass line or odds bet. However, there is one other very good bet that you should consider called the come bet. It's called that because once you place a bet in this area, the very next roll of the dice serves as another come-out roll, only it's just for you. Here's how it works. After the shooter establishes his point, you can place a bet in the come area of the layout. This bet functions just like a pass line bet. If a 7 or 11 is thrown on the next roll, you win. If a 2, 3, or 12 is rolled, you lose the come bet. If a point number is rolled, let's say an 8, your come bet goes up onto the section of the layout for that number. Now, the shooter must make your 8 before he rolls a 7. Here's another important thing about the come bet. You can take odds here too. Simply place your chips down and ask the dealer for odds on my come, and the dealer will place your odds on the come bet. Let's say that the shooter makes his point. What happens next? Well, all the bets on the pass line will be paid off, and then the shooter will have another come-out roll. On this come-out roll, any bets that are on the come numbers are still working. That means if the shooter rolls a 7, these bets lose. But the odds will be off all come bets unless the player tells the dealer that his odds are working. Let's review. Pass line and come bets function the same way. 7 or 11 will win them initially. Craps, that is 2, 3, and 12, will lose them initially. However, if the shooter rolls a point number, he must repeat that number before he rolls a 7 in order to win the bet. The player may also take odds on both the pass line and come bets, and these are paid off at the true odds. Those are good bets. By the way, you can take the odds off your bet anytime you want. Unfortunately, you can't call off either a pass line or a come bet. Once you've established those on a number, they stay until they win or until they lose. Pass line bets and come bets are called right or do bets because you're betting with the dice and against the 7 once the point number is made. Don't pass bets and don't come bets are called wrong or don't bets. Again, the don't pass and the don't come are the exact opposite of the pass line and the come. On the come-out roll, the casino has a hefty 8-3 edge on the don't player, since there are 8 ways to lose on the 7 and 11 and only 3 ways to win on the 2 and 3. But once the shooter rolls a point number of 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 10, the odds shift dramatically in the don't better's favor. That's because the don't better is now betting that the 7 will be rolled before the point number. Let's take a closer look at this. Let's say that the shooter's point is once again 4. There are 3 ways to make a 4 and 6 ways to make a 7. The don't better has odds of 2-1 favoring him. Why is this good? Because if the 7 is rolled, the don't pass bet is paid off at even money. If the don't pass better were being paid off based on the true odds of the bet, he would only get 1/2 of his don't pass bet. With a $5 don't pass bet, the player gets $5 instead of $2.50, a tremendous edge. So, is wrong betting the key to the casino's vaults? Unfortunately, no. You see, by making the 12 a push on the come-out, the casino assures itself of a profit even on the wrong bettors. So, what is the edge for the casino over the don't pass bettors? 1.4%, almost the same for the pass line or right bettors, where the casino's edge is 1.41%. The don't come bet operates just like the don't pass bet. Therefore, it's the exact opposite of the come bet. After the shooter establishes his point, the don't better places a bet in the don't come area. Once again, a 2 or 3 will result in a win, a 12 in a tie, and a 7 or 11 is a loss for the don't better. If a point number like an 8 is thrown, the don't come bet is placed in the don't come box behind that number. If a 7 is now thrown, the player will win his don't come bet on the 8. However, if an 8 is thrown, the player will lose his don't come bet on the 8. As with the pass line and come, the don't pass and don't come player has the option of placing odds behind his don't pass and don't come bets. However, since the player has the best advantage after the come out, he must lay the odds. That means on a point number of 4 with a $5 don't pass bet, the don't better must pay $2 for every $1 on his odds. Let's take a closer look at that. The point number is 4. The don't better has a don't pass bet of $5. Let's say it's a double odds game. The casino will allow a don't better to win twice as much behind in odds. But to win $10 on the 4, the don't better must place $20 in odds on his don't pass bet because he must give the 2-1 odds that the 4 calls for. Unlike the pass line and come bets, you can remove both the odds and the don't pass and don't come bets once they're up on a number. But why would you ever do that? Once you're up on the number, you've got a big edge. Another style of betting that's popular with craps players is called place betting. First, what is a place bet? Many players don't want to put up come bets after the come out roll in order to bet on the point numbers 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10. They also don't like the fact that pass line and come bets can't be removed once they're on a number. For these players, the casino offers a method of getting on the numbers immediately. Place betting. You place the numbers directly. Simply put your bet down on the layout and say, place the 6 and place the 8, and so forth. The dealer will then put your money directly on the number or numbers you've selected. If that number hits before the 7, you win your bet. But if the 7 hits before your number, you lose the bet. So why wouldn't everyone use place bets all the time? Well, the player has to pay the casino a tax for being allowed to get his bet right up on the number and for being allowed to remove it when he wants. How is this tax collected? The casino shortchanges you on the true odds of the bet and instead pays you something called casino odds. Let's pretend that you have $5 to bet. In a true odds game, a game where neither the casino nor the player has the edge, a winning bet on the 4 is paid off at 2 to 1. You should receive $10 for your $5 bet. With casino odds, however, a winning bet on the 4 is paid off at 9 to 5. In other words, you receive $9 on your $5 bet. Now look at the 6 and 8. The place bets of 6 or 8 lose only $1.52 for every $100. That's very close to the casino's edge on the pass line and come bets. Are these good bets? Yes. Are the placing of the 4 or 10, 5 or 9 good bets? No. One more thing you need to know about place bets is that you must place the 6 or 8 in multiples of $6 because the bet is paid off at 7 to 6. Simply put your money on the table and say, place the 6 for $6. If you win, you get $7. And so to review, here are your best basic bets. Pass line with odds, come bets with odds, don't pass with odds, don't come with odds, place the 6 or 8.
In Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man in the Sea, Santiago, the old fisherman, said, "It's good to be lucky, but I would rather be exact. Then when luck comes, I'm ready." Most gamblers rely only on luck, and as you know, Lady Luck is fickle. One moment she's caressing you, the next she's breaking your heart. Craps is Lady Luck's playpen. Here she's offering you multiple pleasures, most of them in the form of bad bets with heavy house edges. They seem alluring because of their high return, but they are deadly traps. Don't be a fool and rush into her clutches. Be an angel. Tread softly, be exact by keeping that house edge low. When luck comes, you'll be ready. Ready to win.
Now that we have a good handle on the statistics of craps and which bets have the lowest house edges, we're now ready to use these bets in a strategic assault on the casino's bank. We're going to show you good basic strategies for the pass line and come better, the don't pass and don't come better, and the place betters. Whatever strategy you choose must be easy for you to handle financially and emotionally. You have to bet within your bankroll, and you have to bet within your comfort zone. There are essentially two ways to approach pass line and come betting, conservatively or aggressively. Your temperament and your bankroll will determine which approach to take. We'll be using a $5 unit for this demonstration. First, let's take a look at the conservative approach to pass line and come betting. Let's say the shooter is on the come out roll. You place a pass line bet. Let's say that you win on a 7 or an 11. What do you do with the win? Do you let the $10 now ride on the next come out roll, or do you take the win and put the money back in your rack? Take the win. Never press. Press means to increase. Never press your pass line bet after a win or even after several wins on the same come out roll. Savor the win and put the money in your rack. Now the shooter has a point. Let's make it 6. Place the full odds behind the bet if you can afford to. If it's a double odds game, place $10 behind it. If it's 5 times odds, place $25 behind it. What if $25 makes you sweat? Reduce it to whatever doesn't make you sweat. Remember, you determine your odds, not the casino. Simply because the casino offers an odds option doesn't mean that you have to take it fully or at all. Okay, you now have a pass line bet with double odds. Place a come bet on the layout. If a 7 is thrown, you win your come bet. Unfortunately, you also lose your pass line bet with the odds, and a new shooter will get the dice. However, if an 11 is rolled, you win on the come bet. Again, never press. Keep your win. Once the come bet goes up on the number, let's make this one a 9. Place the full odds. You're now up on 2 numbers, 6, the original point, and 9, your new come bet. Remember, your 6 and 9 only lose if a 7 is thrown. Since there are 5 ways to make a 6 and 4 ways to make a 9, you have 9 chances to win. You have 6 chances to lose if the 7 is thrown. Of course, if the 7 is thrown, you're going to lose 2 bets. Your 6 on the pass line and your 9 on the come. Whereas when you win, you can only win one of the bets at a time. The casino still has its edge on you, never forget. If you're a conservative player, stick with 2 numbers. When one hits, the dealer will return your win along with your come bet and odds, or you'll be paid off for your pass line bet and your come bet will remain on the number. Let's say that your 9 hits and you win your come bet. You're now up on only one number, 6, the pass line bet. Immediately place another come bet. If you're a conservative player, you always want to have 2 numbers working for you. If you're a slightly more aggressive player, you should try to have 3 numbers working. And a truly aggressive player would try to have 4 to 6 numbers working. The more numbers you have working, the greater the risk, and the greater the possible rewards if a shooter has a hot roll. But only you can decide how many numbers you want to risk your money on. If you're the type who wants to get right in the game, bypassing the pass line and come bets, you could place the 6 and 8 for $6 each. People with limited bankrolls would find this a comfortable way to bet. The casino only has a 1.5% edge on you, and your risk is minimal. Placing the 6 or 8 can be done at any time. Usually, you place them after the shooter has established his point. Then you say to the dealer, place the 6 and 8 for 6 each, or place the 6 and 8 for $12, which means 6 on each. What's the drawback to placing the 6 and 8 as opposed to pass line and come betting? It's this. Sometimes a shooter gets hot by repeating the other numbers. Pass line and come bettors will always be on the repeating numbers. Only if the 6 and 8 are the repeating numbers will the place bettor have a hot roll. In the long run, the casino's edge will win out. In the short run, shooters and numbers get hot. If you're placing the 6 and 8, you're hoping that these will be the hot numbers. It's not a bad hope. After all, except for the 7, the 6 and 8 come up with the highest frequency. Keep in mind that smart craps play is about playing the best odds. And your best odds, when you place the numbers, are on the 6 and 8. Now a quick word on don't betting. By the way, only a tiny percentage of bettors are don't bettors. Most craps players frown on them because they're rooting for the 7. Suppose the shooter is on the come-out roll. The player places his don't pass bet, which will win on a 2 or 3 and lose on a 7 or 11, just the opposite of a pass bet. Once the shooter has established a point, say a 4, place a don't come bet. Now you'll have one don't come bet and one don't pass bet. Stick with that. Never go up on more than 2 don't numbers. Now let's recap our best basic strategies. For pass line and come bettors, if you're a conservative bettor, you should have 2 numbers working at all times. If you're an aggressive bettor, have 3 numbers working. And if you're a super aggressive player, have 4 or more numbers working. For place bettors, place only the 6 and 8 in multiples of $6. For don't bettors, don't bet on more than 2 numbers. Now we'll show you what bets to avoid in craps and why you should avoid them. These bets are called crazy crapper bets because once you find out the house edge, you'd have to be crazy to make them. Most of the crazy crapper bets are one-roll side bets and have nothing to do with the actual game itself. You're merely betting that on the next roll, a certain proposition will happen. That's why these bets are officially called proposition bets. Most of them appear in the center of the layout. They include the 2, 3, any 7, 11, 12, any craps, and the hard ways. The any 7 bet is simply a proposition that on the next roll of the dice, the 7 will appear. This bet is a proposition that the dice will produce a 12. Any craps is a bet that on the next roll, either the 2, 3, or 12 will appear. These numbers are the craps numbers. These are the hard way bets: the hard 4, hard 6, hard 8, and hard 10. They're proposition bets where the shooter must roll these numbers as doubles: the 4 as 2 and 2, the 6 as 3 and 3, the 8 as 4 and 4, and the 10 as 5 and 5 before he rolls either a 7 or those numbers in some other combination, like the 4 as 3 and 1. This is the field bet. The field bet is a proposition that on the next roll of the dice, the number 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, or 12 will appear. Another proposition bet not shown on this table is the big 6 and the big 8. Here you are betting that a 6 or 8 will be rolled before a 7. If you win, you're only paid even money. Now, all of these are bad bets because the casino takes a huge bite out of them in the form of taxes. Let's say you put a $5 bet on any 7. If you win, you're paid $20 because the payoff odds are 4 to 1. But if you were to get the real odds, 5 to 1, you'd be paid $25. In other words, when you lose, you lose. And when you win, you lose as well.
As the legend goes, a mysterious man arrived in a casino in downtown Vegas with 2 suitcases. When he opened the first one, out spilled approximately $1 million in cash, which he promptly converted into chips. Then he approached the craps table and bet the entire stake on a single pass line bet. He won, doubling his money. After cashing out, the man opened the second suitcase, which was empty. He had brought it just to tote home his winnings. When asked about his methods, all he said was, "Well, I reckon taxes was going to eat up the money anyway, so what the hell, I might as well double it or lose it all." Now, a word to the wise. This is a legend, a story of a ridiculously lucky man. Ordinary folk need to rely on sound money management techniques. For money management is the difference between the random risk taker and the intelligent gambler.